called the implausible brightness of seeing. I hope those of you with a literary background will get the illusions, and I'm ready when you are. So we have an issue here. We have an issue around the nature of the world. As Neil Gaiman points out, all we have to believe with is our senses. The tools we use to perceive the world, our sight, our touch, our memories. The world is only the things we perceive. This is not a new issue. We know this. Plato told us it 4,000 years ago in his metaphor of the cave. Russell tells us it again in the Problems of Philosophy. Wittgenstein built his entire life on it. We do not know the world. If there's no reality, how then can we have an augmented reality? If we don't understand the world, if all we have is the sense data coming in, how can we claim to add to it with these devices? The term augmented reality does not work. We see so little of the world around us because our sense organs are limited. This is an artwork that shows GPS data and tries to visualize what your iPhone is perceiving. This is what it looks like if you're looking through infrared goggles. Because every now and then we have technologies which add to our senses. They give us access to different parts of the universe. They allow us to work with different forms of data. We've done this for a very long time. Radio and television both allow us to hear and then to see things that are happening a long way away. But they feed into the existing sensorium. They feed into our eyes and our ears. We're now building technologies that can go further. This accelerometer mimics what happens in the semicircular canals of the ear. It provides us a way to sense other parts of the world, to make some sense of it, and I think it's time for us to start feeding that into the ways we perceive the world, to allow us to experience directly the liminal space between online and offline that many of us try imperfectly to inhabit. This is important not just for those of us who are using these tools, who have smartphones, who have laptops, but for everybody, because it marks the point where we decide to use the technology to begin to alter what it means to be human. It allows us to start telling different stories. It allows us to alter the nature of consciousness by incorporating the affordances of these technologies into the ways we build the reality that each of us has inside our heads. If you're driving a car and driving it well, you feel the road. You do not feel like you're a person in a metal box. You experience the road surface, you experience the handling. The car becomes an extension of you, not just a tool. We can go further. This is Stellark, who's had the cartilage of an ear implanted in his arm and proposes to put a microphone in there so that he can hear with that new sense. Now, this is an art project designed to show things off, but it's far more important to the future development of what we mean by being human than any number of Angry Birds clones. Wonderful though Angry Birds is, obviously, and important as a way of teaching young people the basics of Newtonian physics. We have to move on from the screen-based experience and its infinite mundanity, the boringness of doing everything through a screen, and think instead of how we, as organisms embedded in the world, can start building new senses, not building new interfaces. How can we take the capabilities of these tools and these technologies and incorporate them seamlessly into the way we think about the world? That's what I think we should be doing with the BBC. We want, over the next 48 hours, how many hours left? 24 hours left? 24 hours for you to start playing with some of our stuff in this thing called the digital public space. Good, you're supposed to. The BBC has a massive archive, you know about it. You heard Moment Roberts talk about it earlier, those of you who are in the room. It's being slowly digitised, but more importantly, there's a vast amount of metadata associated with it, and there's a lot of old programmes that can be made accessible. In conjunction with hundreds of other organisations, some of the big ones like Europeana, National Museum Scotland, the BFI, that data is being made available in an open, linked data format which can be used. Conversations, many conversations, tedious conversations, PowerPoint-laden conversations are happening about what you could do around the issues. But fundamentally, we've reached the point where there is general agreement that the data, the essence, the metadata, has to be made available. that a data model can be built, that an architecture can be proposed. We have Spindle available for you all to use here and now. We have access to Redux over the weekend, so you can use that. Thank you.